All right, what's good, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Tomorrow's a big fight. For those that don't know, it's going to be 12:30 Eastern on ESPN. I know a lot of people don't really know when, how to watch the fight. It's going to be 12:30 in the afternoon, okay? So it's going to be early, guys. So tune into ESPN. That's how we're going to see the fight. Um, to be honest with you, man, I didn't believe this fight was going to happen until I saw the press conference the other day. Even the video of Anthony Yarde flying out there and not having his bags with him. Even that day, I still wasn't sure if the fight was going down because we see nothing of Sergey Kovalev. The only thing we've heard about him is his drama outside of the sport and him possibly fighting Canelo Alvarez. That's it. There's never been a press conference about it, no interviews, no footage of him sparring, preparing, at least none that I've seen. I haven't seen anything on Sergey Kovalev until he was at the actual press conference. I really don't know what that means, but I mean, I seen him at the weigh-in. He looks like he's in good shape. You know, I made a couple videos about this fight. The last one, it was more detailed, it was very detailed. And then at the end of that video, I didn't really give a prediction, but what I did say is if I had to roll with anyone, I would roll with Kovalev just because that's the safest pick. I know what I'm getting with him. Like, I know what I'm getting from Sergey Kovalev. I know of his experience, his power, his boxing ability, his resume. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm getting out of him. Yarde, listen, I like him a lot. I want him to win this fight bad. I want him to win. But I really don't know what I'm getting with him. I'm more like just being biased and wanting him to win. You know what I'm saying? I know how good he looks. I think he looks amazing for a guy that's only had 30 fights ever. Amateur and pro. 30 fights is pretty damn good to be fighting like that. You know, like I said in previous videos, you know, he fights kind of Mayweather-ish. Other fighters have done that, like Adrian Broner, such like, you know, other fighters out there. There's some similarities to Floyd, but I like Yarde, man. I think he's very, very, you know, I think he's pretty crafty. He has a lot of power, good reflexes, good speed, well-rounded, you know, got a good inside game, looks very comfortable in there, looks very mature. He looks very seasoned there. He looks experienced, but he's looking like this against lower opposition. So if Kovalev was in the ring with these guys, I'm sure he would look just as comfortable, if not more. I'm sure he would destroy these guys and knock them all out, just like he has in the past. With other fighters, better fighters. You know, Kovalev has schooled and knocked out early much better fighters than anyone. And I'm not even talking about the champs. I'm not talking about the top 5, top 10 fighters. I mean, if you just look at Kovalev's last shit, I don't know how long I've been watching him now, but if you look at least his last, I don't know, 15 fights, they're probably all better than anyone that Yarde has faced. All right? I'm not looking at his box right now. I don't have it right in front of me, but I mean, to think as long as I've been watching him, as long as when he was fighting on HBO, Kovalev fought better fighters than all of these guys that Yarde faced. But Yarde looks amazing. He looks good. I mean, listen, when I say amazing, listen, I already pointed out his flaws. Yes, he has some defensive flaws. You know, there are some things that I can nitpick about, but at the same time, he fights so calm and comfortable in there. He doesn't look like he's trying. Like, I believe, and I can't prove this, I believe that he's better than what we've seen. I believe that when he gets in the ring with Sergey Kovalev, he's going to take it up another level. Is it good enough? That, I don't know. But this is a fight that I said I wouldn't put my money on this fight. I would stay away from this because I know how good Kovalev is, but at the same time, even with that win against Alvarez and the rematch, and I know he's with Buddy McGirt, he boxed very well in that last fight. I still don't believe Kovalev is in his prime. I still believe that the crusher that he was he's not that guy anymore. You know, and in order for him, I just don't think he can ever return to being what he was a few years ago. You know, I think the loss to Andre Ward in both fights, even though I thought he won the first fight, I think we lost a piece of him after that. And again, we saw what happened in the Alvarez fight, the first fight. I don't know if it's old age. I don't know if it's how he feels mentally, but I don't believe he's the same fighter he was. I think he boxes extremely well, of course, but he's reaching up there in age, and he's been stopped a couple of times, and I just don't think he's the killer that he was when he fought Pascal in that rematch. You know, fighters like Cedric Agnew and stuff like that he used to just destroy when he was fighting on HBO. You know, Hopkins, what he did to him, you know. Just to certain fights that we seen where he was just dominant, outboxing, and just beating guys up. I don't think he's Crusher anymore. I think he's great, but he's not pound for pound-ish anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. So I think if I'm going to nitpick, I think those are the things that, I mean, obviously, yeah, you could say he's weak to the body. He has conditioning issues. And that may play a role in this fight. You know, we seeing Anthony Yarde here. We see him take guys out with one punch to the body. You know, as far as his condition is concerned, I don't know. He doesn't fight late, so I can't tell you. He's stopping everybody he fights. You know, I don't believe he's been to 12 rounds before. I don't know if he even been to 10 rounds. I should have checked, but I mean, I've been watching him fight for at least 3 years at this point. You know. There's a lot of unknowns there, and this is why I'm like, I kind of want to see the fight to see how it goes. But I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Outside of the major fights, like maybe like the Mayweather fights, the Pacquiao fights, you know, the heavyweight fights that we're getting now, like Joshua and Wilder and Fury and those guys, I've never sat and watched so much footage of sparring and interviews of one fighter besides the major fighters before. Like, I've watched Anthony Yarde and his trainer Tunde Ajayi. I watched so many interviews of those two because I actually really enjoy listening to those two talk. And Yarde and his sparring sessions, Lions in the Camp, is probably one of the most entertaining things, sparring sessions, that I can watch. You know, just him hitting the mitts, the confidence in their camp. They are so calm. Even this week, even the most recent interviews, I've watched interviews today. These guys are so confident, but it doesn't seem forced. It doesn't seem corny. You know, when Adrian Broner talks shit, I feel like it's a part of him that really don't believe what he's saying, like he's just selling the fight. He can be confident one day, and the next day he could be on Instagram talking about he's going to quit boxing, he's about to go back on his street shit, he's about to, you know, he wants to commit suicide, all that stuff. I don't want any of that to happen to Broner, AB. But I'm just saying, it's not real confidence, you know? Some guys are cocky, but they're using it to sell a fight. I'm not sure if I feel that way with Yarde. I mean, he could be doing it too, and he just might be really good at it. But the guy, and the way he gives interviews, he doesn't really call. He could. It's weird because I'm sure there's people out there that don't like him and feel that he's arrogant, right? But there's a lot of people that really like him because of the way he is, like his personality. I think he's dope. In fact, if he is to win this fight, I think he could be a star even here in the U.S. Like, I was listening to Hatman do a video today, right? And he brought up a point that I actually thought about myself. He compared Yarde to Eubank Jr. and the trainers, you know. He compared Tunde to Eubank Sr., right? He compared to both of them, and the confidence, right? And I actually agree with Hatman 100%. I felt like a lot of the Eubank Jr. confidence was forced. Like, I don't think it was real, you know? That's just how I feel. And the skill set don't match up. Like, I think already, like, I think Yarde is way better than I ever thought Eubank Jr. is, even at this point. I think Yarde is way better. I know he hasn't proven it, but I knew Eubank wasn't that good. I knew he was going to get beaten by Billy Joe Saunders back then. I picked that fight. I picked Saunders to win that fight. You know, but Yarde is different. Like, I believe him. He could be gaming us. He could be. He could go in there and get knocked out in one round. You know, I said this about Erickson Lupin and Jamel Charlo. You know, a lot of people thought Erickson Lupin was going to destroy Charlo. So he could be selling us, you know, and I'm not saying Lupin was selling us to fight or anything like that, but he could be selling us, and he might go in there and just get knocked out and get destroyed. Some people are saying that. I can't defend Yarde if they feel that way, because Yarde hasn't proven anything to me. But I believe in Yarde. I think his personality is real. I don't think he's joking. I don't think that's acting out. He's laughing, he's chuckling, it looks like he's having a good time. When he fights, he looks like he's having a good time. I believe in this dude. He sold me over. I already wanted him to win, but I said, nah, I don't know if you could just go in there and get Kovalev out there. Get Kovalev out of there like that, you know? He could be selling something, but what if he isn't? What if he's better than what we've seen? I seen an interview of him, one of his more recent ones. He's like, you think I'm going to go in there and fight Kovalev the same way I fought everybody else? You're going to see a different Yarde in that fight. You guys know I love SOG. You know, you guys know I love Andre Ward. It's one of my favorite fighters probably ever. I heard his interview, his more recent one, or it wasn't an interview. I don't know if he made a comment. I can't remember now, but I think recently he just believes that Kovalev is going to stop Yarde. Like, he's not really giving Yarde much of a chance at all. And I'm surprised to hear that from Yarde, Ward. I think a lot of it might be a little biased because he's been in there with Kovalev. You know, Kovalev dropped him, gave him a tough fight. Maybe he has a little bias, a little competitive bias in him. You know, I'm surprised he's just kind of writing him completely off, being that he's an analysis, you know. He's an analyzer, I'm surprised he's completely writing him off like that, but I just can't write off Yarde. I want him to win. I'm really hoping bad that he wins this fight. I really want him to win. But he hasn't proven anything to me yet. And when I look at their styles, I think even though Yarde is very well-rounded, has a lot of power, you know, is athletic, we all know all that stuff. Kovalev is a bad dude, got a good jab. His outside game is really good, you know. I don't know how Yarde is going to get around that jab. I think he needs to dog it out. Like I said in the other video, I say he needs, you know, hopefully he's durable. Hopefully he has good conditioning. He looks like he's in great shape, but hopefully he's there later in the fight, because if this fight goes into the later rounds, he's going to need to take over. You know, this is the older guy, but it won't be easy, you know. From the outside, I definitely think Kovalev might be the better one, you know, with his jab and his right hand. He has a great 1-2. But I do believe that, and Kovalev got great legs, by the way, too, still. I think the way the fight's going to go, even though I don't really know who's going to win, I think Yarde is definitely going to struggle a little bit early on. Okay, just a little bit. I think Kovalev might be winning rounds early on, you know. But I think it's going to be competitive still. I think Yarde is going to have trouble dealing with Kovalev on the inside like the way he would like to. Normally, he has guys come towards him, or if he chased him down, it's nothing real. It's no real threat there when he's walking forward. He could come forward well and slip some shots and counter, but he's gonna have trouble with Kovalev because of his jab and his 1-2. But what he is gonna have trouble too with is when he's on the inside with these other fighters. Normally they sit in the pocket with him too. Kovalev is a different story. Once you get in and you get into his space, his clinch and his tying up game is very, very underrated. You gotta like really look him out. He's good at leaning on you, putting his weight on you, putting you in a headlock. He does little tricky things like that to make sure you don't get off on him. And that's Yarde. That's something Yarde is gonna have to deal with in this fight. He's not used to dealing with. Usually these other fighters, he has his way with him. So there's a lot of new things that Yarde is gonna have to learn here as he fights Kovalev. But obviously he's a quick learner. I think he's gonna be learning throughout this fight. This is such an intriguing fight because we're watching a guy that is a former top 5 pound for pound fighter who's fighting a guy that's only had 30 fights ever. 18 professional fights, 12 amateur fights. And he's that good. If he is to win this fight, that's a great fucking win. But if he loses, it's like a lose-lose. It's like a win-win situation for him. As far as pressure, I don't think there's any pressure with them. They getting paid. They got nothing to lose. Like, people don't think he should win. He should not win this type of fight. I think the pressure's on Kovalev. He's fighting at home. He's not used to fighting at home. I think the last time Kovalev, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think the last time Kovalev fought at home was against Isaac Chilemba. And I think the last time he fought at home before that was like years ago. He was always on the road destroying guys. And the Isaac Chilemba fight, he did not look good in. That was like one of the few fights that, outside of the ones he lost, that Kovalev did not look impressive in. So I think the pressure is on Kovalev. I think this fight is a toss-up. I personally want Yarde to win. But I think the safe pick, if you're a gambler or if you want an actual pick, I think the safe one to go with is Sergey Kovalev. Because we know what we're getting with. But what's better, Buddy McGirt Kovalev or Crusher Kovalev? I think if this is the Kovalev that beat Hopkins, that beat Pascal, I think that Kovalev, I would have been like, Kovalev's winning this fight. Even the Kovalev that fought Andre Ward in the first fight, I'll say Kovalev got it. Kovalev got it. But this Kovalev, even though he boxed extremely well last fight, I think Yarde may be able to handle him. Why is, before I end this video, why is Canelo so pressed to fight Kovalev right now? I find that very strange. At first I thought it was a thing, and when the fight didn't go down, it's like, all right, whatever. But it's like they just keep at it, and they were trying to pay step-aside money. Like, they were really, 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 really confident that they could beat Kovalev. Really, really confident for a guy from 160 to do it. So, I don't know. That kind of makes me feel, makes me a little uneasy. I feel like Yarde and his camp see the same thing. Same thing that they can exploit on Kovalev. All right? We seen how Kovalev lose, or we seen how he lost, but, seeing Yarde do it, I don't know. We got to wait and see what happens. All right, I'm going to end it there, man. Remember, the fight's tomorrow on ESPN, 12:30. All right? I'll be here watching the fight with you guys, all right? Probably going to try to do a live stream with you guys if I can, all right? Peace.